Okay. Hello.
You.
What's good, people? What's good? See
How we feeling, yo?
Scribbles. See Charlene. Hey, that's a pretty unique name.
Charlene, like Charlene.
It's probably Charlene. You're right. Charlene makes more sense.
Charlene, yeah.
Anyway, welcome, guys. Welcome in. Hopefully, you've had a great day. Let us know who we're hanging out with here on a Sunday night. If you don't know, on Sunday nights, we look at people's rosters, Dynasty Redraft. It's one of the benefits of using our code on Flock Fantasy website. Everyone gets one Dynasty roster breakdown and one Redraft roster breakdown. I'm sure as we get closer to the season, those Redraft roster breakdowns will get busier and busier. But definitely excited for the year. It's getting closer and closer. 60 days now, is that right? 60 days.
60 days now, which is kind of wild. I'm always said that kind of once my birthday hits, that's kind of when the countdown really starts, because it's like, okay, that means we're kind of 2 weeks into July, only really 2 weeks left into the month essentially. It's and then August is just full steam ahead, so
yeah,
it's kind of wild already.
You are not wrong. I'm just going to tag the person. We are grading your team live now. Just letting him know. So that way he doesn't miss out if he wants to be in the chat. So go ahead and drop a like if you have yet to do so. Hopefully you've had a good weekend. And you are, just doing your thing, chilling, relaxing, acting all cool. Maybe shooting some b-ball outside the school, but let's go ahead and get to the draft screen here, or we call it the draft screen, but today we won't be drafting. We'll be looking at that guy to your right's team.
Guy to your right.
Again, guys, if you do want to have a team review, anyone who signs up with our code LAND, which you can see there's a pinned comment there, or it's not pinned, but you can see the comment. If you sign up with our code LAND, you get a review of a Dynasty team, and you get one review of a redraft team. So go to the website, flockfantasy.com/land. It'll give you, pre-populated code there. Create an account with our code, sign up to the Mother Flocker tier, and then you're going to unlock the entire Discord from us, which includes a personalized DM for advice, which we call the fantasy hotline. If you're one of those people who comments a lot in the chat or on videos and you want advice, then I would highly suggest, probably the most valuable thing that we do is our fantasy hotline, where you can ask us questions at any time through a personalized DM and we reply to you. That's one of the bonuses on the Mother Flocker tier. The other is getting a redraft team broken down and a dynasty team broken down. You get one of each. Today we are looking at that guy to your right's team. It's actually a dynasty team, but we are obviously we're full go into redraft season, in season formats. We see a Terry in the chat. James says when a couple of guys they were up no good. Yeah, exactly. James knows. That guy to your right's in the chat. Love that. Should I trade Dalvin Cook and Gibson for Kamara and Swift?
Dalvin Cook and Gibson for Kamara and Swift. Wow.
I think I prefer Dalvin Cook and Gibson.
I was going to say,
very
I
tough.
think
I'm assuming it's redraft.
I think I prefer Kamara and Swift. That's a tough one. I think I am leaning Kamara and Swift side. I know Kamara has that suspension, but we'll see what happens.
I just don't think you want to be without a running back for 6 weeks at minimum, but you do what's best for you. Okay, that guy to your right, what's Gucci? Okay, so let's get to your team. Again, everyone knows how to get their team reviewed now. Drop a like if you have yet to do so. I've got his sleeper ID here. I'm going to copy it, and let's have a look at where you stand in the power rankings.
Trying to find his team. That guy to your right.
Let us know your quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah, let us know your quarterback, because I don't think we have...
I'll read the context while...
Oh, no. He says my team is Jamar, Sorry. Continue.
Okay. It's Dynasty 12-team PPR Superflex. Start 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, a Superflex. My team is Jamar, I'm in a rebuild, but playing with house money this year and definitely hoping to be a heavy competitor next year. I have the 102, 103, 107, 109, 209. Planning on drafting Richardson, Younger, Gibbs, QJ, whatever wide receivers left at the 109, and a running back, barring a better prospect falling at any spot. I have 324 first. 2 are projected to be top 3. Close lock to 101, and 1 is my own. I'm really struggling not to use my 103 to draft Gibbs because 1, the DC is probably the best we'll see at the running back for a long time. 2, there's a good chance I get either Caleb Williams or Drake May next year. 3, multiple people in my league have him above all rookie quarterbacks. And 4, high-end running backs in the league are untouchable. I tried trading back to get Gibbs and was 100% no. Okay, only considering offers of 2 firsts. Okay, so let's just talk about that firstly, okay?
Yeah.
Couple things that you need to keep in mind here, that in a super flex league, quarterbacks, like Zach Wilson had one of the worst rookie seasons we've seen in a long time, and he was drafted in the 4th round. You know what I mean? The year after. Trevor Lawrence had a ridiculously bad rookie season, and he was still a early to mid 2nd round pick the year after. These quarterbacks who get top 5 draft capital, you can almost make the case that they're more safe because of their job security than a running back with 1st round draft capital. Now, I totally hear you. What I will say is if you're really not competing right now, and we'll have a look at your team, if you're really not competing right now and you're looking to build towards next year, all it takes is for Gibbs to have an injury, and then it's going to be tough. And we know that the running back position is more injured than, let's say, the quarterback position per se. But in a super flex league, all we can do is give you the advice that we would go with. And then if you want to draft Gibbs, hey, go with your heart. I mean, it's your league. You're spending the money. So, you have to make the decision that's best for you. I would just say that Badaki and I would pretty confidently still go with a quarterback there. And Brandon says Mac Jones, Lance, and Zach Wilson are all down bad. I think what you're missing there, though, Brandon, is going into their 2nd year. Mac Jones was never drafted top 5. Trey Lance didn't play a single game. He was still a 1st round pick in Dynasty Startup drafts. Going into his 2nd year, he didn't play a single game. And Zach Wilson was still a pick in the first 4 rounds, even though he played and he looked awful. So I think that's what we're alluding to there. But let's look at the team here, which is, what's it? Jamar,
Jamar, yeah. So,
especially with the quarterbacks that he's got. I think exactly. You need to go quarterback.
And that's exactly where I was going to allude to. Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Mike White. With these quarterbacks, I'm a big Kenny Pickett guy. I do believe in him, but just in case if things don't work out, just in case it doesn't pan out the way I'm hoping and expecting to, then you getting whatever quarterback that you have that you're going to take at the 102 and the 103, AR, Bryce, or CJ, I think is going to give you more security in this quarterback room for the longevity, especially the way what I'm seeing with you right now with the 23, 24 first. So if you can solidify those quarterbacks now and then kind of build up into a more, I guess, comfortable team with your quarterbacks, I would 100% be doing that right here, right now. Because, we love Russell Wilson, but, there's 2 pathways. Can he really take off and be the Russ he used to be? Or is he going to go completely dog shit, right? I mean, that's those are the 2 narratives that a lot of the fantasy community are talking about right now. Mac Jones, I'm not a big, massive believer of him, but it's kind of good that you do have Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi just in case something does happen. But those quarterbacks kind of seem significant right now to be drafting them with your 102 and your 103.
Yeah. And, your wide receiver room is pretty good. You can build around that next year. You said that you're going to have some top 3 picks. Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a great option for you there. Your running back room isn't tragic by any means. Like, is it going to win you a league? Probably not, but it's not tragic. And running back to me, it would always be the last position I would address in a rebuild. And your quarterback room, like, you don't even have someone in my top 15 personally of my dynasty quarterback rankings. So that to me, with the 102 and the 103, hey, you know, I think Caleb Williams is a lock to be the 101. But guess what? Sam Howell was 2 years ago. He ended up being a 5th-round pick. You know, who knows what happens with injuries or etc. Right now, you have the chance to add 2 quarterbacks that were drafted. One of them first overall, and one of them obviously top 4. Right? Colts were 4 or 5, whatever.
5.
So you have a chance right now to add those players. Now, I am someone who prefers Bryce Young over Anthony Richardson. I think he's a better quarterback long term. Anthony Richardson, I think, is incredible on the ground. I think there's a safer floor for Bryce, and there's a larger ceiling for Anthony Richardson. That's a decision I've made a lot to go with Bryce Young. The good thing is you have the 102 and the 103. So with how bad your quarterback room is, you can add both those guys, Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson. And even if you don't want to build around Anthony Richardson, let's say, you could sell that guy right now for a lot of assets. I mean, we have seen, like, for example, I've seen a trade in my own dynasty leagues where someone sold Anthony Richardson and they sent away 3 first-round picks and Desmond Ridder. You know, like, we are seeing Anthony Richardson get a huge haul. I mean, even if you go on like community rankings right now in Keep Trade Cut, I mean, let me show you this right now. You take Anthony Richardson at the moment, then Anthony Richardson is almost as valuable as Chris Olave. Some of these tier 2 wide receivers like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle. You might be able to get you know, like a Breece Hall, for example, which I wouldn't do right now. It's a rebuilding, but you get where I'm coming from. Like, right now, Anthony Richardson is valued so highly, and guess what? Everyone projects him as a good project. You know, no one is expecting him. Well, I think some people are, but people with good sense are expecting him to be a project and him to be good on the ground. So, my advice with those picks, the 102 and the 103, would definitely be Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson. In a super flex league, quarterbacks, if you don't have them, you don't win. And right now, you don't have guys that we love, are in love with building around. So guess what? What happens next year? Anthony Richardson underwhelms through the air. Okay, well, he's still being drafted in the first 2 rounds of startup. And maybe you get Caleb Williams. Hey, maybe Bryce Young hit. You have, I would say, much more flexibility in moving quarterbacks than moving running backs in a super flex league. And I think that we've seen quarterbacks in top 5 hold their value much longer. And all it takes is Montgomery. Like, this is what's frustrating about Gibbs. Like, we all see the insane upside. All it takes is Montgomery to outscore him year 1 for people to reassess how they view Gibbs. That's all it takes. I'm not saying that will happen. Whereas these quarterbacks, with the capital that they're given, they're going to have many chances to prove themselves. And while they might lose, let's say, a round of value, they still will be very, very valuable this time next year, especially in a super flex league.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, go with the quarterbacks, and then kind of like what Zach was saying with Gibbs, it takes a bad year, or it takes an average year with the top 12 capital. It takes him getting injured, missing 4 or 5 games, saying, well, he didn't really perform and do as well in his rookie season. And you have Monty. Maybe the person that does draft Gibbs, Monty could be the bait when he goes down. You know, whatever the case may be, so you can sell him, flip him, and then get some sort of capital later on, whether that is a first or second or another running back, another wide receiver, whatever the case may be. You know, I kind of agree here. These running backs, like Zach kind of mentioned earlier, they don't hit home. Obviously, Monty, Dalvin Cook, Khalil Herbert, Penny Ford, those are the real people that you're looking at here. I mean, Khalil Herbert, I think, could be something, I guess, in the first couple of weeks of the season in a redraft perspective, but in a dynasty perspective, he's not the long-term answer. Same thing with Rashad Penny. Dalvin Cook, he needs to get onto a team to really see that longevity that we're hopefully hoping for, but in reality, he's kind of done. So your long-term plays here is really Monty, which I kind of understand why you really want to go with Gibbs, but you have to play the long game here, especially once again with those 324 firsts that you can be utilizing for a quarterback, or in the second round. You know, you have the 209. I mean, can that be a Roscoe? Can that be? I mean, I doubt Kendra falls to you. Can that be a Tank? Whatever the case may be, you can get a little bit more depth just in case for this year in the running back position. So I would agree here with the quarterback play and everything else that Zach said about these running backs.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, look, there is the case because I could just imagine people. Saying this, where Breece Hall tore his ACL. He's still going in the top 2 rounds of a dynasty draft. He also showed to be like instantly a top 5 running back in the NFL. With his explosiveness, and he had no competition. So it's definitely similar, different body builds. Here's the thing with Gibbs, like if the Lions show us that they're going to use him in an elite fashion, then there won't be any question marks, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I just think overall quarterbacks who go in the top 5 are going to hold more value. And even if you don't like Bryce Young, even if you don't like Anthony Richardson, you could have them on your team and trade them before you're actually ready to compete, whenever that is. So these running backs, I honestly like if you're truly rebuilding, I wouldn't sell Monty. Honestly, though, like, sorry, I'm gaining my thoughts here. The more I think about it, I'm not selling any of these running backs right now because none of them really have proper value. I think Monty could gain value. I think Dalvin does gain value wherever he signs. And Khalil and Penny could also gain value. So I wouldn't really do anything with your running back room right now. Your wide receiver room is I would say top heavy, but you have some good names in there. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. Some people's wide receiver 1, some people's 2. Waddle is my wide receiver 5. He's in most people's top 7. Hollywood Brown is a perfect name to have on your team if you're rebuilding, because he's going to be very efficient and effective with Kyler Murray. We saw the pace he was on with Kyler Murray as the number 1, but Kyler Murray's injured right now. So he's great. He's not going to score too many points for you this year. Tony's a good kind of, wild card. I'd be willing to sell him if the price is right. I know Badaki loves Elijah Moore. That's a good piece to have.
Yep.
And then your tight ends, you got Chig, Cole. Did we know if this is a tight end premium? Did he say that?
I don't think it is a tight end premium, but he did ask in the chat here if he said, with tight ends being kind of garbage, do you think Kincaid at the 109 over Flowers? I prefer Flowers as a prospect, but maybe I'll make more sense for the rebuild. I think I can safely say that we will both go Zay Flowers over Kincaid. Building on your depth here at the wide receiver position, also being a first round draft pick. Obviously Kincaid was as well, but still, I know a lot of people are shaky about Lamar, but I think this offense is going to see a different step. We're going to see something different in this offense. I know people are worried about OBJ. He's only on a 1-year contract. Zay Flowers is the future of this team, in my opinion, and is going to. I think a lot of people are undervaluing Zay Flowers. I think that's kind of the thing that I want to say. A lot of people are undervaluing him, and we're going to see a good, I would say a decent year than what a lot of people are expecting in his rookie year right now. But yes, Zay Flowers over Dalton Kincaid. As much as I love Dalton, I'll take Zay.
Yeah, I would agree with Zay Flowers being the answer there, especially in a non-tight end premium format. I've probably been the more annoying person on the channel talking about tight ends and why you shouldn't expect much from them as rookies. But I wrote an article about this over on Flock Fantasy, and we're writing articles pretty consistently, not only us, but Mason from Flock, the guys from Stock Exchange, the guys from Endgame. Now we have the guys from Domain on board. But this was an article that I wrote, and I can put it in the chat. If you have access to our website and you are a member, then you'll be able to read this. I would just encourage you to read this. The one thing I'll say is this is really important to look at. Average fantasy finish for rookie tight ends from 2012 to 2022. That's a decade long of information. First round picks, they average tight end 25 their first year in fantasy football. You can see it gets much worse in the second and third round. I would encourage you to read through that. Now, look, I'm not saying that there's no chance that Kincaid is an outlier, because we have seen outliers, right? Kyle Pitts was an outlier in his rookie year. Pat Freiermuth was an outlier in his rookie year. What I'm saying is that history shows us that there is a very, very slim chance of that happening. And if you're about mathematics, if you're about chances and numbers, the numbers aren't good for him being a super effective tight end day one, even though he should be very good long term. So yeah, to me, it would be Zay Flowers as well. And I don't really feel, Badaki, that like this wide receiver room is so good where I'm not adding wide receivers. You know, I still think you need to add wide receivers there.
I agree.
I was going to ask, he said Zay Flowers might be the best, but it says he has a 107. I don't see why Zay Flowers would be, like, you should have Quentin or Addison as an option, right? No?
Yeah, agreed. And that's exactly what I was going to say. Because he says 102, 103, 107, and 109.
Ah, so he's got both.
He has the 109. So yeah, I mean, I'm going for Quentin. Me personally, I'm going for Quentin and then Zay if they fall. I'm happy for you to go Addison if you really want at the 107, or if Addison falls to you at the 109, that really helps. But
no, if you're not competing, I would agree. I would go Quentin.
Yeah, so I'm happy to really go one of those guys. And if I was gonna say if one of those guys, no, because either way at the 109, one of those wide receivers are gonna fall to you. Yeah. That 109, you're still gonna have a wide receiver available. Because I was gonna say if somehow those guys are all off the board, maybe you can take Kincaid at the 9, and I'll still be happy. But I don't think there's a way that's possible.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there. I was just agreeing because the way I've been approaching it is in leagues that I'm competing, I'm taking Addison. And in leagues that I'm rebuilding, I'm going to take Quentin and not expect him to be, you know, some sort of top 24 finish this year. I'm not saying that's outside of the realm of possibilities. But if Keenan and Mike are healthy, he's not going to finish top 24. So at the 107, I think there is more upside with Johnston, and you're in a place where you can go purely upside. And at the 109, Addison or Flowers. My preference would be Addison, but both are great picks. Yeah. And then at the 107, like if JSN for some reason falls to you, then you should feel like a champ and take him, but that probably won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, at the tight end position, look, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. We have Chig has been a breakout guy, or a guy that we're seeing a lot of production and opportunity coming into this year. Cole Kmet, look, it wasn't amazing last year, but in reality, he finished as top 10 tight end, right? I mean, and Justin Fields
he caught fire at the right time too.
Yeah, and Justin Fields is going to another year with more weapons, more opportunity, a better offensive line. So I mean, hey, Cole Kmet we can finally be seeing the Cole Kmet we've all been hoping for the past couple of years. So it's not terrible. Right, and I mean, even Daniel Bellinger, if Darren Waller does miss time, you know, he was catching fire at the same, like Zach was saying, at the right time, kind of like Cole Kmet, and then he gets injured again. So look, it's not, once again, not home run hitting guys, but guys that I would say we believe in. I say someone like a Chig or potentially even a Cole Kmet. So decent depth there. At the tight end position.
A couple quick things there. From week 5 onwards, which the Bears' philosophy on how they were deploying Justin Fields changed dramatically, after week 4. They really allowed him to show his legs on the ground from week 5 onwards, and that allowed him in some ways to utilize his weapons better because there was this give and take with the defense. From week 5 onwards, Cole Kmet was a top 5 tight end. That's a large sample size. It's not like I'm telling you from week 14 to 18. No, from week 5 to 18, Cole Kmet was the tight end 5. Now, he was scoring 10.5 fantasy points, so it's not sexy, but still, people shouldn't be completely giving up hope on Kmet by any means.
Agreed.
And then Chigakonkwo, I've actually brought him in videos titled "Players to Trade For If You're Rebuilding." And Chig was one of those players. So you're not actually like completely screwed at tight end. And there's enough here in a rebuilding team where I wouldn't address it right now. Let's say this time next year, Kmet and Chig are in the same place. They haven't really proven much. Then if you're ready to compete, let's go out and get an Andrews, depending on what the cost is. Maybe a Kelsey on a discount year if he's, regressed a little bit. So not right now. I don't think I would do that at this very moment. But with it looks like he's got the 209. I just want to read the make sure that we're not missing. 209. So with the 209, there's a lot of different things that you could do.
That's more even wide receiver depth as well. I mean, like it could be wide receiver, running back, tight end.
It really depends
anyone.
on how the draft falls, because you and I have been in drafts where it goes like a couple different ways. So what I wanted to do was give him names of ranges for that pick in particular, because again, you're in a position where it's just take best player available. But for me, I just wanted to quickly give you the names that I would target there. So at running back, I don't think Kendre Miller's going to be there. That feels unrealistic, but obviously he would be an auto pick for me. The names that I would look at would be Rashawn Johnson there. And to be honest, like for me, I think that's the only name. I don't think I'm taking Tank Bigsby over the wide receivers that would be available there. Outside of that, the wide receivers I would look at, if Mingo falls there, Jaden Reed would be a great pick at that point. Mingo obviously would be a great pick there. You could put Marvin Mims in that category. So yeah, those are a couple names. One of those names is going to be available. I would prefer Kendre. He would be my top pick. I don't think he'll be available. At that point in the 209, you could go Mayer or Laporta as well if they're there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Mayer, Laporta.
Rashawn would be my second priority after Kendre.
Yeah, it just really depends on who's there, but I'm just trying to think right now. Yeah, Roscoe, a Jalen Reed, maybe a Josh Downs sometimes falls if all those guys are out. I mean, if you're gonna get Anthony Richardson and kind of want to stack, you can go Josh Downs. Let them two develop. Luke Musgrave, I think it's a good pickup as well there potentially. But other than that, kind of what you were alluding to, if anyone falls, like if Michael Mayer falls, it's hard to pass up. If Jonathan Mingo falls, that's hard to pass up. You don't expect. Same thing with Kendre Miller. If he falls all the way down there, hard to pass up. So just keep a lookout.
Yeah, I've made my concerns over Downs pretty well known. I wouldn't be drafting him there, but I know that I'm not within the consensus there, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, but other than that, you have weaknesses that are clear. I think you know that, but you have the draft capital to fix those weaknesses. Once you add a Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson to this team, a Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, then let's say a Rashawn Johnson or Jaden Reed or whatever ends up being, Laporta, Michael Mayer, you're looking much, much better heading into next season. And then you currently have 24 firsts. So ideally what you do with this team moving forward is if Russell Wilson regains his value in season, let's say week 6, we're looking at Russ and he's a top 8 guy in fantasy. Can you get 2 firsts for him, right? Can you get a mid first for him? What can you do? Because you don't need to build around Russ long term. Is Dalvin Cook a top 10 running back by mid season? Can you get a first for him? Is Montgomery a top 10 running back? Can you get a first for him? Has Penny taken the role I think he might take? Can you get a couple seconds maybe? Can you get an early second? Guaranteed 201. So some of the names that, again, I think in season you could look to sell: Russell Wilson, Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, Herbert, Penny. Those are really the main names I would focus on. But and then all of a sudden, maybe if you make some of those deals, you have 5 firsts, or you have 4 firsts and an extra 25 firsts.
Exactly.
So you're in the right direction. And
you just gotta wait. You gotta wait until these guys pop off or do something, and if you can take advantage, I'm doing that immediately. So you just gotta wait. Be patient.
If you play it right, it'll work into your hands. Players only, you're 6th, and then full team, it has you actually first. But then again, the guy who is first, that's a pretty good team. Honestly, though, not completely unbeatable long term. Your team has some pretty good. Was this just drafted? I wonder, because this league has some pretty good disparity between teams.
Maybe.
I wonder if it's a recent draft. But drafted last offseason. He says, yep, totally on board. I traded to get Russ and Cook literally just to trade in season because I think they're undervalued. Yeah, that's smart. Definitely smart.
No, that's good. That's good.
But I think you did well. We will leave time to answer some of your questions. But again, if anyone wants this treatment that we just gave that guy to your right, we like to be very, very clear about how you get it and what you get in return. If you use our code LAND, LAND, there's a link that I can put in the comment section right now. But if you use our code LAND when signing up to the Flock Fantasy website, there's a couple things that you're going to get. Firstly, you're going to unlock the entire Discord, roster submissions, redraft submissions. Each member gets one Dynasty team and one redraft team graded each year. You unlock the Fantasy Hotline, which is a direct DM to us for advice. So if you're someone who's asking questions a lot on live streams in the comment section, that's going to be very valuable to you. You unlock the Dynasty Trade Show, where you're on our weekly show where we look at Dynasty trades from our community. And you also unlock everything on the site, all the articles from us and the community, all the rankings, Dynasty Superflex, one quarterback, best ball, soon to be redraft. You can look at rookie only. You can add me. You can add Badaki. You can add Mason. You can look at how our rankings all differ from each other. You get bonus videos. You get bonus. We've got the guys from Stock Exchange looking at 2024. Which is awesome. The more opinions you can have on a class, the better. You know, you guys see my content on the Dynasty channel about 2024. Now you can see some other content as well. We have databases here. We have draft guides, all from the team over there. So DM us on Discord. If you sign up, we'd be happy to get you all set up. And cool thing now is you can integrate your Discord automatically through your account tab. But why don't we go ahead and leave a couple minutes for any questions? MP says, how do I get my team assessed for the $150 league? Roast me. MP, you know how to get your team assessed. Sign up with our code and you'll unlock that ability. Terry, same thing. If you want your entire team graded, you guys know how to do so now. He says, who should I target at number 3 pick? We can answer that. Eckler, Chase, Jefferson, or Bijan. I mean, if Justin Jefferson's there.
Yeah, I'm targeting him.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I've been. I mean, this is a. Is this a redraft league?
I assume so.
If this is a redraft league, I mean, where's CMC? Is CMC not on this list? You're assuming he's off the board already?
Right. I guess he's assuming that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking CMC.
Yeah.
If he is available.
Yeah, I will put it in order of Jefferson, CMC. And then if those guys aren't there, man, I probably would go Cup myself. But Chase would be close.
Yeah.
You can't really go wrong in that top 6, to be honest.
No, you can't. But I think it's all right.
Don't know if I have any questions necessarily, but I appreciate the time spending checking this out. I'm sold on taking Young and A-Rich at this point. Yeah. And if you mentioned something that your league really highly values Gibbs, I wonder, and I could be wrong, are most people in this league young when it comes to Dynasty? Is their Dynasty mindset young? Because they might learn pretty quickly how valuable quarterbacks are. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to win a Dynasty championship when you don't have at least 2 top 12, quarterbacks in Dynasty. It's about 50-50, yeah.
Right, okay.
But you have your fantasy hotline. We set that up for you, right? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, I think we.
I'm pretty sure we
have
did.
Helped him. Yeah.
But
sure we did as well.
Feel free to message us there at any time. And if you have a trade that comes through or whatever, we'd be happy to give our feedback over there. He says I haven't gotten it set up. I'm gonna go ahead and add you now, and we'll set that up right after this stream. Anyone who does sign up, by the way, this fantasy hotline setup tab is just for you to say, hey, can you set me up? It's kind of like us. It's a way for us to get a notification to get you all set up there. But yeah, that should be it for today. Appreciate you. Thanks for signing up. Thanks for the support. Outside of that, anything else?
No, should be good, and we will see you tomorrow on
Hmm.
our redraft channel,
Yeah, on this
which is
channel,
this channel.
we're doing some drafts, so we'll see you guys
Yep.
then.